Welcome. Hey everyone, I'm Iva Ballou. I am the CEO and founder of Real Sophisticated Joy, and I was born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Love Meets Joy podcast.
And I'm Ashley Barbour. I was also born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate. I created the social media platform Cleft Love, where my goal is to raise awareness and educate about cleft with love. And we are so excited because, and those of you who don't know what Love Meets Joy even is, it's a podcast where Iva and I talk about cleft as it relates to our personal lives.
We talk about our journey and just everything cleft. This season, we kind of get into some new things, which we'll talk about a little bit soon.
Yeah, and our exciting announcement.
But it was just a labor of love for us, and we just get to share our journey and the cleft journey as a whole. And it's a beautiful story that we tell.
Yeah, and so season 2 drops in September. And if you already have it added to either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, the trailer for season 2 is up. So as soon as we're done, well, not as soon as we're done, but at 5:10 when you're done, please go listen to it because we're just so excited to finally have it out into the world. And something I think that's a little different about this season, how many people listened last season? A couple people?
Woo! Yeah!
So those of you who listened kind of know that a lot of last season was Iva and me talking about our personal journeys. And towards the end, we did a couple of interviews with our moms, which were really great. Miss Ballou, you were amazing.
And your mom was great too, yes.
And then this season, what's different is we're doing a lot more interviews, which I think is really cool. And like highlighting some incredible people in our community who are doing amazing things.
Like Lucy, who's here today.
Yes.
Alicia, she wasn't able to make it today due to the global outage. We are able to do quite a few people in the community that share their story.
Yeah, which is so exciting. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so I don't know how many people know how the podcast was started. So should we tell the people the story?
I think we should. And so I will start. The way that it would happen was back in 2020. Oh my gosh, it seemed like so long ago.
Yes.
Ashley and I were asked to be co-panelists for a session at Virtual Cleft Con, the very first one. And I remember being on the panel and I was just like, I think I like this girl. I was like, okay.
We kind of
vibe. But I wasn't sure. And at the time, because of the pandemic and just trying to tell my cleft journey, and I was talking to others, and I was doing a live every Thursday, and I invited Ashley.
On Instagram.
Live.
And she was very formal, let me say. She sent me like a Google form. And I was like, this is serious.
Yeah.
Like she means business.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about her and like get into it. And so she came on, and we just clicked.
Yes, it was so great.
It was like, in fact, Ashley was like, we need more time. Because
I know, she was like wrapping it up and I was like, is she having a bad time? No. I don't know, I'm like having a great time. I could talk all night to you.
At the time, they only allowed for 30 minutes, so that's what that was. And so then, for the next Virtual Cleft Con, they asked us to do a session with you and I.
Yes, just the two of us.
And we talked about dating and relationships. And I can remember in beauty, and people were just like, I want more of this. I want more.
The comments were so great.
And somebody said, oh, I want a podcast.
Yes, and they just felt like they were listening to their friends talking. And I was like, it would be so great if we had a podcast and we could just bring that conversation into your living rooms.
Yeah. And so as soon as we got done with that session, I called her and I was like, are we doing a podcast?
I was like, I think we're doing a podcast.
And we kind of got down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
She got scared, I got scared. We were both
I was like, Iva, I don't know if I'm ready for this. This is a lot of stuff and planning.
And so we then reached out to Smile Train and said, this is the idea that we have.
Yes.
This is what we were thinking about doing. And thankful to Susie, Adina, and Troy who were like,
for believing in us.
Believing in us, and were like, this is a great story, let's do it. And that's how season 1 came to pass. That was good.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. So this season, I already said that we're doing a lot more interviews. So why do you think that we chose the people that we did? Like what was our thought process, or what was your thought process in bringing people on?
I think that we've always said that we wanted to make sure that we told the full cleft journey, not just our journey, because although ours is very similar in a lot of ways, it's different, and so is everyone else's. Each cleft journey is its own in its own way, and so we were like, okay, well, let's pick out some people like this season and just talk to other people and see what their journey was like. And so that's how we kind of just were like, okay.
And they also are people mostly in the cleft community who are doing great things. And I love amplifying those voices.
But we also have to share that we talked to our brothers, and that was a new conversation.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was so great, yes. I also just have to say, I was with my aunt when this graphic came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And she was like, whoa, that's not a real photo. And I was like, thanks, Aunt Judah.
That's definitely us.
It's a little airbrushed. Well, it makes me laugh that she said that. Okay, do you have any key takeaways from our season this past time?
The key takeaway that I would take from this season is, again, the road to cleft is so different.
Yeah.
And each person gets to that point of their journey of accepting it at their own time.
Yeah.
Each one of our guests, you know, they said how maybe in the beginning they might have struggled with it, but in some way, shape, or form, they have come to what their level of acceptance is. Yeah. And I love the fact that we are able to share that story because someone else is going to relate to that. Yeah. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful season too.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for people to listen to it.
I know. And I think something that I really appreciated is just, again, that those people are out there like making moves and making a difference in the world. And I think in the messages that I get from parents who have, you know, new diagnoses of babies who are going to be born with cleft, like their biggest fear is like, what is going to happen, right? Like, what's my baby's life going to be like? And I think this season highlights just the awesome things that we are capable of.
You know, I always say that people who are born with cleft, we are given a gift of resilience that you can't earn any other kind of way. Yes. And we amplified that this season with showing our guests like who are doing amazing things. And like, you know, we have Lucy, we have the tap dancing, and like they share all.
Lucy's a tap dancer.
We learned
Spoiler
that.
alert.
And then. And we learned about Monica, who's an artist, but also is a lawyer. Like, how did those two things come together? Yes. And so it's just because you are born with this thing that the world says is a challenge. Yes. Hearing how they overcame that and have made the beauty of it.
Yes, poison into medicine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite bit of feedback that you've received from somebody from season 1?
Yes. So she's not here today, but I will never forget. I was at a play, and she texted me, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Iva, I'm listening to season 1. It is so good." And we're talking, going back and forth, and she's like, "Oh, I just walked into a tree. It was so good." And I'm immediately like, "Okay, thank you for listening, but please stop. Please be safe. Be safe." But it was just the fact that every time she sees me, she says the fact that she just felt so seen and heard, and that we tapped into a part of her journey that she never knew that she needed to hear. Yeah. I think that was just like, it kind of always touches my heart. Yeah.
I think my favorite is, like, I know we both get a lot of selfies of people who are wearing lipstick.
That's another one.
And I love that because it just, I don't know, makes me feel so good that it like inspires confidence. And then I have a coworker at my day job who started listening just because she knew me. And she came to me and said, you know, I wasn't sure, you know, how into it I was going to be. I didn't know if it would relate to me at all. And she said, even though I have no connection to the cleft community, I just, everything that you said, like, was something that I needed to hear. And I think it just really speaks to the overarching themes of the cleft journey, you know, love, acceptance, to find, I don't know, your like true calling, like all of those things are actually universal. And so that was like really impactful for me. Absolutely. Yeah. So one note before we go to Q&A, throughout the month of August, there will be sneak peeks or like recaps from season 1 that will be dropping. You could also just go back and re-listen because it's really great. But in order to access those and season 2,
Yes.
you need to be following us.
Yes.
So please pull out your phone.
Phones.
If you aren't already following us,
Yes.
these QR codes will connect you. So if you're on Apple, you can just go to the Apple Podcasts app.
And I'm Team Spotify.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if you're
we're
Team Spotify.
Yeah, we're
go ahead
nemesises
and
on this.
Click on
Oh,
that.
you made Spotify big. Where's the Apple one?
Because everybody's on Spotify. Teams, you know. And
Yeah.
there you go. See, Team Apple.
Yeah, and there's Apple. So once you open Apple Podcasts, you can just type in the search. There's like a little magnifying glass. Click on and type in Love Meets Joy, and then our little graphic will pop up. And then at least on Apple Podcasts, then you just click the plus button in the top right corner.
Same for Spotify.
And if you need any help, we are happy to help. I helped someone earlier today follow it already. So yes, just pull us aside, and we are happy to check in about that.
Perfect. Okay.
Well,
we have a little sneak treat.
Yeah, a little surprise.
Yeah.
Roll the
What
tape.
do a TikTok influencer,
A prominent child psychiatrist,
a tap dancing lobbyist,
a fashion designer,
a TV writer?
and our brothers all have in common?
There are just a few of the incredible guests on season 2 of Love Meets Joy.
I'm Ashley Barbour.
And I'm Iva Ballou. We're the co-hosts of the Love Meets Joy podcast.
In our first season, you and I really focused on our personal cleft journeys,
But in season 2, we wanted to share the mic with others from our amazing community.
including our brothers who stopped by to tell us how fabulous we are. But not really. But they did come to chat with us for the first time about what it was like to grow up with a cleft-affected sibling.
Yeah, that was very insightful.
And I feel like they were so open and honest.
In fact, all of our guests shared openly with us, and their stories are so inspiring.
I really feel like this season there's something for everyone.
So true, Ashley. Season 2 of Love Meets Joy is more like love meets joy, meets arts, meets TikTok, meets mental health, meets fashion, meets advocacy, and so much more.
So join us. New episodes drop every Thursday starting September 5th.
Love Meets Joy wherever you get your podcasts.